The waters surrounding Yonaguni Island off the southwest coast of Japan are difficult to reach and even more difficult to dive. But the sapphire blue salt water of the East China Sea holds a bounty of natural wonders for those who come here. This undersea world has rarely been seen by people outside the tiny Japanese diving community that claims this part of the ocean for their own. In 1987, scuba instructor Kihachiro Aratake sets out to find ways to attract more divers to Yonaguni. But what Aratake discovers instead is even more unique, even more spectacular than anything he could have possibly imagined.
When I first saw it, I had goosebumps and felt strange, wondering why something like this exists underwater.
To Aratake, the stone megaliths he discovers look like the remnants of an ancient ceremonial structure.
When I saw it for the first time, I had a strong impression of the pyramids, and I felt like I was in Egypt. It is a great mystery that there is such large object near such a small island.
Masaaki Kimura is a professor of physical sciences at the University of the Ryukyus in Okinawa, Japan. In 1992, he is the first scientist to explore and measure the underwater phenomenon.
This one is the body, yes. Okay.
The main structure is over 500 feet long, almost the length of 2 football fields, and taller than an 8-story building. To Kimura and his team, this is more than a collection of interesting rocks.
Our studies show proof that the monument is not artificial, but is man-made.
But Kimura's studies, published in Japanese and circulated only within his own academic community, failed to reach the West. Photographs are circulated on the World Wide Web, where they attract the attention of Western divers. Their photos are seen by Boston University geologist Dr. Robert Schoch, who has done pioneering work on the dating of the Sphinx in Egypt.
I hear a lot of, should we say, rumors, and people tell me things about stupendous finds that turn out not to be true, etc., etc. So I just dismissed it as one more thing like that. When I first heard about it, then I saw photographs of it, and the photographs really looked fascinating.
The photographs of the monument also impressed Graham Hancock, a former correspondent for The Economist and author of a series of books on Earth's oldest known structures. Hancock immediately takes a crash course in scuba diving so he can see the monument for himself.
My first impressions when I first saw the main underwater structure at Yonaguni were of complete awe. To see very clean, almost right-angled, sharp edges, to see every appearance of design and organization in a large stone structure underwater raised in me a tremendous sense of excitement and mystery. The closest parallel, I would say, is the kind of feeling that I get when I walk into a great cathedral or into the Great Pyramid of Egypt.
Since 1997, Hancock has made more than 150 dives at Yonaguni, discovering more than just a single stone monument.
We have specific, distinct structures with extremely puzzling, anomalous features that I believe cannot be explained by nature, found spread out along 5 kilometers of the southern coast of Yonaguni. And since they're all submerged, it suggests to me that they were all made at roughly the same time. I honestly think that we are looking at a huge ceremonial, ritual, religious area.
But the fact that the Yonaguni monument is underwater raises an extremely difficult scientific question. If these stone structures were, in fact, created by humans, then they would have had to have been carved when the monument was above water. According to Kimura's estimates, that would date the ruins to the Ice Age, when sea levels were much lower because much of the world's water was still locked up in the ice fields of the Northern Hemisphere. That means that the last time the Yonaguni monument was above water was approximately 8,000 BC. predating Egypt's pyramids by more than 5,000 years.
もしかしたら
The monument might be 10,000 years old or older, which would make it the oldest structure in the world.
But dating the Yonaguni monument to the Ice Age flies in the face of the timeline currently accepted by mainstream archaeologists.
Large-scale man-made constructions of this nature require a level of organization and planning in society which historians presently are unprepared to accept could possibly have existed 10,000 years ago. And therefore proof that these structures are man-made, and indeed if we can get to it, that they may be 10,000 years old, is by definition going to force a revision of history.
According to experts, around 8,000 BC, we were primarily hunter-gatherers, nomadic, unorganized clans who had only the most rudimentary stone tools. Certainly not the kind of society capable of creating the Yonaguni monument.
The general scenario for the rise of what we would call civilization or sophisticated civilization is that it begins in Mesopotamia and Egypt around 3000 BC.
John Anthony West has written a number of books about the monuments of early humans. And West, like Hancock, believes that there is ample evidence throughout the Earth that a sophisticated Ice Age civilization could have existed, a civilization described for millennia in the oral histories of many cultures.
It's very important to remember that there are large numbers of ancient traditions that refer to a lost civilization destroyed by a flood.
But until the discovery of the Yonaguni monument, tangible evidence to support these ancient myths was lacking.
There was no known evidence of megalithic structures, monumental building, even say in the 3000 BC range. And if this was going back to maybe 6,000 or 8,000 BC, that was even more stupendous.
When we continue, mysterious pyramids, temples, and shrines around the world with eerie similarities to Japan's mysterious pyramids.
I think that there's a ton of evidence out there that says that ancient people were in constant contact with each other much further back than we like to believe.
Were I to focus on any one area of the Yonaguni monuments, I might be persuaded that it had been made by nature. But the combination of so many different features in this one area, for me, makes it extremely unlikely that nature could have done them all.
And if Hancock is willing to concede some natural forces at work on the monument, Schock is willing to hold out the possibility of some artificiality. Is the monument of Yonaguni a natural rock formation that at most was a source of inspiration for early island inhabitants? Or is it the world's oldest artificial structure, the work of a legendary prehistoric civilization? At present, there is only educated speculation. To really know the significance of this mysterious site will require a comprehensive study by mainstream scientists. To date, no such study is planned.
The question of considering a phenomenon like a series of submerged anomalous structures off the coast of a Japanese island, and the fact that very few academics have been prepared to spend even a minute of their time looking into that, to me this is a huge failure of science in the world today.
In Japan, there are only a few archaeologists who can dive and study the monument firsthand. So other academics who haven't seen the monument with their own eyes are drawing conclusions based on imagination. If they come, dive, and hypothesize with us, I'm sure my theories about Yonaguni will take a positive direction. I'm quite sure about that.